Hi everybody, Jennifer Louden, jenniferlouden.com. Hey, I wanted to talk to you about the story you're going to tell yourself about a creative project that you really care about in this first month or so of 2017. I've been obsessed with, I think that's a fair word, definitely very interested in story making from a lot of different perspectives since I was really young. I made movies, I went to USC film school, studied screenwriting and critical theory, but I also started meditating at a very young age, reading about neuroscience, studying ontological coaching and philosophy. How do we create the story of ourselves? And I'm still always learning and growing. I find it fascinating. We can't encode a memory, for example, without making a story out of it, a beginning, middle, and end. We have a part of our brain that seems to exist just to interpret the chaos of life and make it into context, meaning. I find it fascinating the kind of research that people like Carol Dweck at Stanford and her students and team does, and finding out about mindset. And then, for example, if we're taking a difficult test and we tell ourselves we have unlimited willpower, we can do better empirically on the test than if we tell ourselves we only have so much, it's a limited resource. I could go on, but how can you play with the idea of story in 2017? Well, first of all, I'd like you to think about the fact that the stories that you love and that remain with you, like maybe Little Women and Jo March or Matilda by Roald Dahl, the characters that stay with you, they don't have it easy. They don't go through life and the part of the story in life that we see, and everything just goes their way. That would make a very boring story. They grow and change because of how they address the twists and turns of their lives. Is that possible for us in approaching one creative desire, something we really want in 2017, to begin to see ourselves as a character who is gonna have shit happen? How are we gonna learn and grow from it? Now, I like that perspective, and I found it to be very powerful for me and the people that I work with because it gives me a little distance. I don't get so caught up with, identified with the very normal struggles. But then it also gets me into a questioning mode or an inquiry mode, which is another huge part of my work and books over the years. How can I use this difficulty that's coming up in this moment to learn and grow as a character, to move toward what I really want? The other thing that we really love about the stories that we read, the movies that we watch over and over again, is at any moment we could hit pause, close the book, and we could know right then what our main character wants. And that might be to get out of this scene alive, or it might be to, get the girl to kiss him. And we also know what they want overall, to create a safe life, to get out of the Secret Service, whatever it is. It's clear in good stories that maintain our attention. So is it clear for us? Here's a practice that I'd love to give you. Every night for this month, this first month of 2017, when you go to bed, or longer, for the whole year if you want, but I don't want to overwhelm you. When I think of a whole year, it feels really big. For the next few weeks, however you want to frame it, what if the last thing or so you do before you go to sleep is look back over your day and say, how would I know what my character really wanted if I was watching the movie of today? What would be revealed to me? Does my character just want to survive? Does my character want to be a nasty gossip? Well, sometimes that would be me. Or does my character really showing me through their actions that they want to move towards this creative desire? And frame it that way, like you're watching a movie or reading a book of the day. What did your character show you that they wanted? Super powerful exercise. I keep a little notebook by my bed when I'm working with this. Great when we're really struggling to stay clear with our desire and also to get some distance from it. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is another practice that you might find powerful and interesting. I cannot tell you what it's going to do for you, but I can give you the instructions. And it will definitely help you see yourself as someone who's living a story. So go back to that creative desire, that thing that you really want. So for me, in these next months, it's to finish a draft of my book and give it to my agent. That's what I want. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be public. It just has to be something you really want, okay? And then I want you, and yes, you can only choose one. It's just for now. Then I want you to look at a habit, a choice that you're making that sometimes or regularly or painfully or irritatingly most likely, gets in your way of taking action. Not something someone else is doing to you, but something that you're doing to yourself or doing in reaction to something that's coming into you or your environment. So for me, it would be getting swept up into other projects and into teaching mode before I go into writing mode first thing, and cutting back or cutting down or losing entirely my writing time for the day. For a week, give or take a day, I'd like you to notice the story that you're telling yourself when you make that choice. You cannot try to change your behavior. You cannot make it about, if I observe this, everything's going to be different, and you cannot beat yourself up. It's about meditating on the moments that you're in the middle of choosing to switch over to email or get the crunchy snacks or tell yourself you can't open the document and start writing, whatever it is, you can't get your paints out. You're just going to pause, listen in on yourself, feel into your body. What does it feel like? What started this? Make some notes if you want. I find that super useful because I have the worst memory ever. And it's a great trail because our ability to bring things to consciousness and keep them there is difficult. That's all you're going to do. You can do it for longer if a week than you want, but a week is usually great. You're just observing. Now, there's lots of times when you're not going to catch yourself and you're going to be like, oh my God, I totally went down that rabbit hole or into that habit and I was completely unconscious. Let it go, start again. You're going to catch it enough. Listen in, write down what you hear, write down what it feels like in your body. I'm not going to tell you what this is going to get you, except to remind you it's not about making a change or making a plan or beating yourself up. Just walk away from those thoughts if they come up. So that brings us, so the first thing we're going to do is review at the end of the day. How was this character? What did they show me that they wanted? How did they want to move forward today towards this desire? What did they show me they wanted? You can do both. Second one is this week or so of observing ourselves in the moment of choosing or being in another behavior or habit that gets in the way of what we want. And then the third one are a couple of prompts that I want to give you from my fabulous new 2017 guide, which you may have already downloaded, in which case, if it's on your hard drive and you haven't opened it, it's probably not going to do a lot for you. I don't know, maybe by magic it will. And if you haven't downloaded it, there's a link somewhere around this video in which you can download. It's totally free. I worked on it for weeks. I think it's powerful, kind of magical stuff. But two prompts in particular I want to call out from the story section in the guide. And that is, I am the sort of person who in 2016, and my invitation is to you, 20 times, keeping your hand moving, not hurrying, but not editing and not stopping. I want you to write your name, is the sort of person who in 2016. What did you do towards this creative desire, away from it, and in general? Get a sense of who your character was in 2016. Some of the things that you write down are going to be lofty and wonderful, and some of them are going to be gritty, and some of them are going to be things that you don't like at all. Doesn't matter. No one's going to read this but you. Then the second prompt, you can do this later at the same time, is, again, your name, is the sort of person who in 2017. What are you going to do as a character in your life towards what you really care about in 2017? This is not an invitation for perfectionism, raising the bar, writing affirmations, or in any way painting yourself as some character different than who you are, but instead being very specific, not aspirational, maybe a little aspirational, but very specific about what are the things that you'll do in 2017 towards this creative desire, around it, in the realm of it. Those are my ideas to play with story as a way to approach a desire that might make it more practical and less scary. I hope you'll come to my Facebook page or email me and tell me how these experiments go. I'd love to hear. And by all means, please, if you want more, download the guide. I think you'll find it, I already said, magical. We have so much more power and potential than we're willing to own. And maybe by seeing ourselves as characters who are going to change and grow, not because things go our way, not because we win, not because we stand up on the stage, not because we get the big check, but because we responded consciously, vibrantly, courageously to what life brings our way every day, that we're going to create the story of our lives that we're going to be happy with at the end. That's what I'm working on this year and probably many years after that. I hope you'll join me. Thank you.